Good evening, everybody. This is Atwi. Yes. Lema.
This is Atwi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you please
Over to you, Mr.
start the
Atwi.
music?
Okay.
Okay, over to you, Si Kamel or Mrs. Atwi.
Mrs. Atwi, okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, hello everybody, and welcome to the sixth U-innovate webinar. Thank you very much for joining us today. Our topic is going to be maximizing learning through contests, and extracurricular activities. I think that by now you are familiar with the steering committee members' names. I mean, Mrs. Camelia Zorgati, ELT inspector from Monastir, Mr. Habib Sherni, ELT inspector in El Kef area, Mr. Kamel Sheikh, ELT inspector in Mednin, and Lema Atwi. I work in Tunis 1 and Manouba. Just a few reminder about some housekeeping rules, just to make things go smoothly and avoid any kind of disturbance. I mean, during the presentations, we would like, please, to remind you to keep your microphones muted during the presentations. You'll have time at the end of each presentation. We'll allow 10 minutes so that you can interact with our guest speakers and ask your questions. During the presentation, you can use the chat box to write your questions, or if you've got a comment, and later on we'll make sure to forward them to the presenters. And we'd like to remind you that in order to get a certificate of attendance, you need to take a very short quiz. At the end of the webinar, we're going to post the link to it in the chat box, and we'll make sure also to post it in our Facebook group. All right, before we start the presentations per se, I'd like to invite Mr. Kamel Sheikh just to set the scene for the webinar. So over to you, Si Kamel.
Thank you very much, dear colleague. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. We do apologize for muting your microphones, as my colleague Lema has just said it. This is part of the housekeeping rules for the well-being of each one of us during this session, the sixth webinar. And you are welcomed, and it's always a pleasure to have you among us. So I hope that you will enjoy the session with us together and tonight. Thank you very much for attending it. Now, I just want to put it into its context. I mean, the theme of tonight's session is, of course, maximizing learning through contexts and extracurricular activities. I just need to remind you, this is just a reminder, and I know that you are aware of all these things, but this is just a kind of reminder about the paradigm that we are working on for the time being, which is called by some experts in the field dynamic learning. Dynamic learning actually relies on activities, constant change, and progress that are extended beyond the boundaries of the physical everyday classroom. It goes, for example, beyond the school bell, in the sense that learning doesn't stop when the bell rings. It goes beyond grade levels as well, because students might be taken to other areas of their interest beyond what they should learn in each grade, and other strategies featuring the term beyond. And we are at the heart of thinking outside of the black box, that is the classroom. Tonight's webinar sheds light on this area of dynamic learning, and we are pleased to invite Mrs. Thuraya Girmasi from Midun Jirba Prep School tonight, who will be talking about this theme and about learning and thinking beyond the classroom with her personal experience with her own students at school. And Mrs. Samiha Bhibah Qadri, working also in a prep school, and my colleague Lama will be in charge of presenting her later on. So I just wanted to start to pave the way for them with this short introduction. Thank you for attending again. Over to you, Mr. Habib or Mrs. Lama. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Sikame. We start with our first speaker today, Mrs. Samiha Bhibah Qadri. As you said, she's teaching English at prep and second. She's been teaching, English at preparatory and secondary schools for 14 years. She also mentors teacher students during their pre-service training. She has actively contributed to innovative student-centered projects and contests at the regional level. Moreover, she presented TV lessons for ninth formers during last year's lockdown. Mrs. Bhibah is going to give you an overview of some of the projects that she participated in implementing. So over to you, Mrs. Samiha.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, hello. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and you can start sharing yours, madam, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, you can try now.
Yeah.
Try to share your screen.
So how are things, Mrs. Samiha? Is it okay?
It's okay. I think it's a matter of time.
Okay.
Excuse me.
It's loading? Okay, good.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
Okay.
Do you see the screen?
Almost.
Just a moment, it's loading.
Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, great. Now we can see it.
Okay, great.
Okay, good luck.
So first of all, I would like to say that I am going to present our contributions in projects which were meant to maximize learning English through context and the extracurricular activities. And I would like to thank all the prep school teachers with whom I worked hand in hand in harmony, and we tried together to make it to the top as a regional project. And of course, these regional projects were in Tunis 2 prep schools, and they were all supervised by our inspector Latifa Mulhi, to whom we are so grateful for her encouragement and guidance. The first contest was about dictation. And of course, the question is normally, why is dictation not other activity? Everybody knows that it is believed that dictation is a multi-skill activity, and it is useful in normally in large or mixed ability classes. So we have said, why not between schools? So it was the first idea for the group as a whole, and it was elaborated as following. Here is a general presentation of the dictation project. In fact, the present conception of the project took about 13 weeks, from February to May 2017, because we assumed that we needed to undergo all the stages through a process of ongoing discovery, diagnosis, assessment, because it was our first experience. And we, teachers and our inspector, Mrs. Mulhi, agreed to expand the project into 2 rounds instead of 1 for a number of key considerations, namely to achieve a higher degree of reliability. And we, as teachers in Fatuma Bourguiba Prep School, we decided to organize another qualifying round just before the first round for more reliability and to give more chance to the maximum number of pupils. And the first step was achieved as you see here. And of course, the qualified pupils were those who made 10 mistakes or less. As every project, we have objectives, the long-term objectives and the short-term ones. For the short-term objectives, it was to teach language skills along with communicative skills. I mean, it is for recognition of syntactic rules and discourse structure, typology, recognition also of word morphology, semantic and pragmatic properties in a text, even at the level of the word and sentence boundaries, also the sound variations. The second objective was to master assessment skills. As a group, of course, we worked together to adopt a more open attitude to the formative assessment as another alternative to the evaluation of the learner's language acquisitions and proficiency, and also to adapt assessment modalities to a larger, more heterogeneous group of learners. I mean the participants from different schools and different environments and inter-class participants like in qualifying rounds. The long-term objectives, it was self-reflection or self-construction, the teachers being decision makers, project designers, assessors, planners, and active participants and collaborators. It was our first time to collaborate together, all the schools. You can imagine the number of teachers with whom we worked, and it was a huge project for us. The second long-term objective was to engage the learners in a bigger or larger project than in the classroom. Like, of course, other projects, we organized our work into different steps. The first step with a plenary meeting was held to make arrangement, like group formation, which is very important to divide our work between committees. Each committee has a role. The first committee was organization committee. They met to fix contest dates, select texts of the dictation, and of course, volunteers who wanted to correct the papers later, they they registered their names in advance. The dictation day, after the dictation day, the evaluation committee met to determine the extent to which the choices made by our colleagues in the organization committee were adequate, and see whether they can readjust some details. And of course, we wrote a report and submitted to the other teams to prepare the second dictation round. And eventually, representatives of both committees meet to discuss areas of improvement and, of course, weaknesses, and decide on the laureates list and reward options. I'm going back to the organization committee, whose goal was to prepare the contest text and the worksheets. If you consider the 3 levels in basic education, the total number of texts selected for the whole contest is 6. I mean, 3 texts for the round 1 and another 3 texts for round 2. The text selection and adaptation and reconstruction took nearly half the time allotted to the whole project. In the final step, volunteer school representatives were handed a copy of each dictation contest, and of course the text itself of the dictation and the worksheets. I mean, we prepared a standard format. The pupils didn't have to bring their papers on which they wrote their dictation. They were handed with worksheets. Of course, like other prep schools in Tunis too, and under the supervision and the encouragement of our inspector, Mrs. Mwilhi, our pupils sat for the regional contest, and the following photos may give you an idea about how the general atmosphere was in Fatuma Bourguiba Prep School. As you can see, we are really grateful for our colleagues who volunteered to supervise from other, of course, colleagues, not only English teachers, all the colleagues from our school volunteered to supervise the groups of contestants. So we sent some personalized and funny invitations through our administration. Here are some pictures. So after the day of the contest, it is time now for the correction. In fact, it's not only correction the papers, but also we need to think about, to talk about the data collection and analysis, assessing the contest scores, and the final step, which is contest awards. It was an atmosphere of competition and fair play. As you can see, teachers from different schools volunteered, as I said before, to correct the contest papers. The event took place at the Krufok, and the evaluation criteria and scale mark being, of course, decided by the organization committee, and of course discussed in that in evaluation teams. It is worth noting that we made sure that the evaluators corrected the papers of students from other schools, not their own, just to optimize reliability and credibility. Time for the statistics and data collection. Following each of the 2 dictation rounds, the committee finalized the context scores, and the results were of course presented in form of charts that make us sure and clear, realistic findings and conclusion. And here are some charts of my school, Fatuma Bourguiba School. As you can see, it's obvious that our 9th formers suffer from spelling mistakes. 66% of the mistakes were spelling mistakes, just like the 7th formers. And it's not the case for the 8th formers. As you can see, the charts are different and gave us idea for remedial work, even in our classes, not only for the dictation contest itself. Here, of course, the time of the awards. The outcome was perfect. It's above our expectation, and it is an average of 3 per level in each school where finalists. And in the end, as you can see, there is no loser. Here is the first list of 9 formers of prize winners. 8 formers prize winners and the 7 formers. The whole project was as a challenge for us and for our pupils, in fact. But the sole real hardship was that we have to face to finance the dictation awards. As you can see, we handed them with some certificate who were made and personalized by us teachers. And of course, the prizes, of course, we lack of funds and sponsorship. That's why in the end, we decided just to organize a half-day trip on Peretz ship in Hammamet. The laureates were also awarded, as you can see here, teacher designed certificates. It is worth noting that the dictation project might suffer from some sort of shortcoming given the circumstances, but the sense of achievement all the group and the subgroups experienced together merely led to a substantial shift in our attitude toward dictation itself and the projects. The second project is based on reading and writing. Just like dictation, they can be considered as multi-skilled projects. The question here may be, is it about writing or reading? To be honest, it is meant to be writing in the first step. But was it all about writing? Shall we all, the target must be to get the student engaged in a piece of writing or not? For our team, we haven't a choice. We had no choice. We could blend both of them in a coherent, well constructed single move. We could integrate reading, reading for pleasure, extensive reading, and writing in the same project. And this was how the whole process started, in fact. Here is a general presentation of the reading-writing project. Unlike the dictation contest, which took 13 weeks, the conception and the implementation of this project, which is reading-writing project, lasted no more than 5 or 6 weeks, from April to May 2018. And writing as one of the components, which was the target, in fact, first target, lasted no more, it was just for 1 day. It took 1 day, the day of the contest itself, but while the remaining time was allotted to the reading part. Of course, we had some objectives. The first objective, like the dictation project, was to teach language skill along with the communicative skills through extensive reading situations. Reading whole stories instead of confining learners' practice of learning strategies to instructive reading of coursebook context. And it also led us to adopt a more open attitude to the formative assessment as another alternative on evaluation of the learner's reading proficiency. Of course, our learners were motivated to write, and we gave students the opportunity to take part in an evaluation-oriented competition-based event, or as their intrinsic and extrinsic motivation to write, and engage them in a process that requires the investment of their linguistic and strategic abilities in a writing situation. Of course, we felt ourselves as a professional work organization, so it was easier, so much easier than the first project to organize our teams. Everyone knows his place, and the same steps that we took before, a plenary meeting to make arrangement, the group formation, etc., and the outline. The second meeting of the organization committee to fix contest dates and select book titles, and are adapted to the 3 levels. Of course, 1 title for per level. And of course, the teachers who volunteered to correct the contest papers registered their names in advance. The last committees, just after the correction, the writing contest and the correction committee, it was the evaluation committee, which met only once after the paper are corrected, of course. and the report was then issued and submitted to the other team to prevent any future shortcomings if the contest is held again locally or regionally. Of course, I'm going to go back to the organization committee whose role was to choose and select the titles, the books. Of course, we had we made sure that there are some strict criteria in our choice. The first one was readability, and of course. The second one, authenticity, suitability, and resourcefulness, which was the most challenging criteria. Here is some pictures about the atmosphere in Kirifak while selecting the books. So the team's mission was to explore mediatic platforms, libraries, and even bookshops to look for book titles. The result was these 3 children's books: The Selfish Giant for 7th formers, Strawberry Shortcake and Friendship Party 8th formers, and Bobby 3 Cheers for Becky 9th formers. More challenging than determining how to get our youngsters to read was to know what to have them to read, especially when the English reading materials available for beginners in libraries and bookshops is very modest. So after choosing these titles, online versions of the 3 books started to emerge in our ELT blog page, and we had to what you have to do was to refine and readjust the soft copies to suit the readers. Okay. Of course, while reading, you know, I have said before that, as I have said before, that the extensive reading took the major part of this project. To be honest, we took advantage of the 3rd hour in our prep schools to give the chance to pupils to work on extensive reading, and of course, along with some worksheets. We had meeting to prepare some worksheets based on activities like book presentation, presenting the author, the genre, the characters, setting, the plot, even discussing the title, the cover, the pages, analyzing. We analyze the characters themselves, events, the cultural values, the themes. Also in an advanced step to produce cartoon strips out of the story, of course. Also to perform the best scene, the favorite scene, or even the whole story at the end. Deleting and adding some parts, changing the characters, changing some events. Also, it was very creative for the pupils. Also, we go through reacting to the story and its characters by identifying with a favorite character. If you were, for example, the character, what would you do, etc. Pupils wrote were asked to write emails to the main character to advise him or her, to blame, to thank, or more. Of course, write to the author himself about your opinion about the story. Spending and writing about an imaginary day spent with the main character, for example, and more. If the activities were highly creative, and the teachers we have made, of course, and created some worksheets who were creatively personalized, and of course in a list of extensive reading activities. And we finalized them during one of the organization meetings. And I would like to thank Mr. Suhail Bent Masek, who handed us with his booklet, which was a selection of personalized activities I used myself in my sessions, and it was very fruitful. So thank you, Mr. Suhail, if you are here. Suhail Bent Masek, Habib Thamer Prep School. For the writing contest, here is one of the copy of my pupils. The outcome of the project, just like the first one, it was quite promising. and the writings were above our expectation. They were very good writers. I didn't know that our little pupils knew writing and are creative, were creative at that level. So we members of correction committee enjoyed sharing of their passages, which were highly creative. And it is worth noting here that these very learners did rise to the challenge in the 2017 dictation contest, and it was warm hearting that they came back again to sit for other contests, and of course it was really enjoyable for us as teachers. I would like to thank you for your attention and thank Mrs. Lameh for this occasion to show and to share our experience with our inspector. And I hope that you enjoyed my presentation. And this is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs.
Excuse me. There is another slide. I forgot about it. It's very important to mention that after finishing the reading contest, it was very important for us to have some follow-up work, which is to integrate extensive reading in the classroom. It was very good, and I shared the same experience with my colleagues, and it was very fruitful. I invite everyone to encourage pupils to read outside the boundaries of the classroom. It is very fruitful. Thank you again.
Yeah, indeed. A very important remark. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bheba. Thank you very much for the insightful and detailed presentation. And I'm sure it is going to inspire many colleagues to follow suit and to implement similar projects, especially that you gave us a clear idea about the steps to follow. You know, that most of the time we are afraid of doing such projects because we do not know how to start the whole process, etc. So thank you very much for giving us a clear idea about this. And of course, we should not forget to thank our dear colleague, Mrs. Mulhi, for her wise supervision and for motivating you to work together and to extend learning beyond the walls of the class. And congratulations on achieving your objectives. To all of you, to Mrs. Mulhi, and to all the colleagues in Tunis too. And now I think, Si Kamel, we should give the floor to the participants if you'd like to ask a question.
Just a word of thanks again, because it's really amazing. And the work was the result of a long path of endeavor, great work actually, in teamwork especially. So congratulations, Madam Samiha. Okay.
Thank you.
That's really interesting. Yeah, we give the floor to our colleagues. So for questions, they may raise their hands if they want to participate, or just ask for any comment. So the floor is yours. Please do. So we have just some time for interaction. Thank you. Now there are many thanking messages on the chat box.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All colleagues are congratulating you and they are thanking you for the great work.
Thank you. It's the great work of all the team together. You cannot imagine how happy we were with our work together. Collaboration makes dreams come true.
Now that's absolutely true, and I share this attitude because we cannot achieve things alone. So we grow together. Actually, teamwork is our ambition, and
a team which is composed of maybe 60 teachers, English teachers, who work together hand in hand. Some of the committees members do not know each other, but they work together without even getting direct contact with each other. It was very important.
Yes, sure. Madam Samiha, maybe while waiting for our colleagues to ask questions, if you don't mind, it's a great work, but just a technical question about the management of the dictation competition. How did you run it, actually, in the sense of, did you read, did you make a recording?
Exactly. So it wasn't the cassette recorders. They are not available for every school, so we opted to reading it aloud.
Okay.
So that's why we needed our colleagues from other subjects to supervise the contestant with us during the two rounds.
Good.
And the contest took place at the same time. It was on Friday, 3 p.m. So everybody began the contest in the right time. It lasted for 20 minutes or more.
Good. So congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions, dear colleagues, before? Yeah, Madam Basma Marawi. Basma, you can unmute your microphone. Can you do it alone?
Okay, yes, I did.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank her very much and to congratulate the team for the work, because it's not easy to find a team working with so serious and so promising. I'd like to ask about the time. That is, she said that she allotted the third hour for this project. So does this mean that all the third hour sessions during 2 months were for the project, or so? And are we allowed? I mean, are we allowed to have
okay,
all
you may
this
answer,
time?
Madam Samia. Go ahead.
Not all of them. We needed maybe 2 or 3 of them, or they were the booklet that Mr. Suhail handed us with. It was very useful because they use it at home. So they had all the booklet together, and I assigned them as, I cannot say homework, but I assigned a part of the book to read and do task 1, 2, and 3, for example. And then we corrected together as correction of homework or something like this. The plays and the cartoons presented by the pupils, they were just like the oral test for presentations or activities inside the along with the lessons.
I see, but not all pupils are concerned with the competition. So during the third hour, if you are correcting for the pupils who are engaged in the competition, what will other pupils be doing?
Believe me, it was hard to select who are going to sit for the competition. All of them wanted to. So exactly. So they were all engaged. They are volunteered. All they wanted to go through the experience together. It was really a great experience.
Okay, thank you. This is a really great work, and
thank you for both of you. Okay, just to welcome Mrs. Zorgati, if you want to say a word, Madam Zorgati.
Hello, Mrs. Zorgati.
Am I raising? Oh.
Okay.
Microphone is muted. I think she's facing some technical issues.
Okay, it's okay, no problem. She can just message us if she wants to. Any more hands, any more questions before we move to Madame Germesi? All right. So shall we move? Madame Lema and Sil Habib, do you have any questions?
It's okay. Maybe it would be better to move on to our next speaker.
Okay.
What do you think?
So yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Mrs. Germesi, are you listening?
Yes. Good
Okay.
afternoon. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. We are fine. Thank you. Okay, so before I just hand you the floor, please, I need to introduce you to the audience. So Mrs. Thuraya Germesi is a seasoned teacher working in Midoun Prep School, Jirba Mednin, of course. And she holds a BA in English, and she has the 3 TKT certifications. She is a NISA coordinator. She has recently got the award, the ISA award from the British Council and she is also a young learners trainer as well. She runs the TILAC club in her school with her colleagues, English language club in her school, and contributes to the organization of extracurricular activities and contests for her students. Mrs. Germasi's presentation will focus on her work in this area. So good luck, Mrs. Germasi, and over to you.
Thank you, Kamel. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to be part of this webinar and share my work with all of you. I would also like to thank my colleague, Mrs. Samiha, for her nice presentation, as well as all the participants. I'm going to share my presentation.
Okay, so it's loading.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to include the sound.
Mrs. Kermesi, make sure you share the presentation, not your desktop.
Okay. It's loading.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
Now we can see your screen, your desktop for the moment, and the presentation is loading. Yeah. So are you going to go full screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, we can see the first, the presentation, the whole presentation. Now that is full screen. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so my presentation is entitled Learning and Thinking Beyond the Classroom. And I will go through different parts in my presentation. Here is a summary of it. I'm going to start with explaining what is meant by extracurricular activities. Then how can extracurricular activities and contests benefit our students and improve their academic performance? Then I'm going to give examples of extracurriculars that we may assign to our pupils. And I will end my presentation with some samples of activities and projects I worked on with my students to go beyond the classroom. Extracurricular activities are activities performed by students outside the area of the normal curriculum of school. They are meant to offer students the opportunity to acquire academic skills in a real-world context and beyond the regular duties and schedule. They provide a channel for reinforcing the lessons learned in the classroom. These activities teach fundamental skills in a way that can stick with the students forever. So what exactly are those benefits? Extracurricular activities are used today to improve the students' communicative, social, and artistic skills. They are activities that help students learn the values and importance of competition, teamwork, individual initiative, group responsibility, sense of community, self-confidence, endurance, and diversity, including, of course, the development of competencies relevant to the future career. They also enhance leadership and citizenship among the students. Extracurricular activities also help to reinforce the skills and lessons taught in the classroom. And it is evident that there is strong association between participation and success. So students who participate in extracurricular activities have better attendance, higher levels of achievement and aspirations for attending school. And I am helping myself with a quote from the National Center for Education Statistics, the NCES, that reported that recent research suggests that participation in extracurricular activities may increase students' sense of engagement or attachment to their school. And here are different types of extracurricular activities that we might offer to our students. For example, volunteering, conducting interviews, participating in sporting activities, field trips, taking part in clubs, thinking globally and going beyond the classroom virtually through online conferences, writing and putting on a play, making exhibitions, and creating and producing a show. As a teacher, of course, I try to make effort to provide my students with a safe environment where they feel comfortable and motivated. I try to encourage them to think beyond the classroom by evoking a sense of wonder and curiosity of the world around them. And now let me share with you some projects and activities I conducted with my learners. And I will start with this project about the environment entitled Lend a Hand to the Land. This project has got many parts. For example, you may see here my pupils who were making effort to take care of their school garden by planting some plants and trees. Okay, I'm trying to move to the next slide. Then they participated in cleaning the classroom. For example, this one. They also prepared some posters. They hung around the school walls. They also participated in this reusing activities where they brought some things from their houses and they changed them into useful items. And this is the work in progress. And this is, of course, the outcome of the progress, I mean, before and after. I really discovered talented pupils and artistic ones. And I am going here to share with you this short video while my pupils were working on that project. Okay. Another activity was prepared also. It was about conducting interviews around the school. It was really very effective. They interviewed their friends and the school staff about environmental issues. They also took part in the school local radio to sensitize others about the importance of taking care of their school environment. And such activities helped my pupils acquire leadership, creative, and cooperative skills. They developed roles as active citizens, and they educated everyone in their school about how to take care of the environment and respect nature. I'm going to move to the next project, which is reading is fun and beneficial. It all started with a visit to the school library. I took them there to discover the place and read some books. I also tried to conduct some reading activities during at the beginning of the lessons. In fact, I sometimes take 5 minutes, okay, and they take stories brought before to the classroom and we put them in such a box. And the outcome of these activities was a puppet show. They performed and enjoyed it a lot. They were extremely motivated to prepare their own stages and puppets. I discovered that low and shy achievers found a space for them to participate, to practice English. And I'm going again to share with you this video about a puppet show they performed about Little Red Riding Hood.
Little Red Riding Hood, where are you, my dear? Here I am, Mom. Please take this basket to your grandmother.
Smells good.
She's very ill and cannot get out of bed. Hurry, dear. Grandma must be very hungry.
Okay, Mom.
Goodbye, don't talk. Goodbye, don't talk. You meet on your road. Be careful, my dear.
Don't worry, Mom. I will remember.
Okay.
Food.
My next project that I want to share with you is Our Culture, Our Identity. This activity helped my students get more understanding of their country's cultural aspects. I started it by inviting a dietitian, her name is Mrs. Ilham Shuru, to my classroom, and she explained to them the benefits of eating traditional food. So they developed awareness of the impact of traditional food on their health. They were really curious and interested in all its aspects, and I really discovered new talents on my pupils on that day. They were active and they interacted a lot with her. So these pictures can give you an idea about this activity. The next activity was organizing an exhibition to introduce cultural aspects. That was really exciting for them. They were extremely motivated and self-reliant since they took part to prepare it. So we had an exhibition about traditional food, clothes, traditional clothes, and I can share with you this video that was shared also by with some of our international partners. So here is the video. It's a short video about the exhibition. People were moving. Okay. Then they explored our traditional clothes, and this is how they celebrated the Tunisian traditional outfit. Let me move to another activity, which is the language activity. And as we all know that we can use technology in the classroom to help our pupils learn new things beyond the classroom virtually. This facilitated collaboration and interaction. This language project was shared with a school in Pakistan. We had an online conference and we greeted each other in Arabic, Urdu, and English. So my pupils developed communicative skills through using language as a medium of interaction. That was really effective, and they felt a sense of pride and responsibility. So we prepared this handout in advance, in which you find greetings in English, in Urdu, and in Arabic, and it was a really enjoyable online session where we heard them speaking Arabic and they heard us speaking Urdu, and we communicated well in English, of course. It was the meeting. I do believe also that making use of opportunity outside the classroom helps our students love the language and foster learning it. This can include a walk or a field trip to engage their imagination. In fact, I tried it with my students when we had to walk to a restaurant, so they prepared everything in advance. So you may see them in these pictures preparing their t-shirts. They had a special uniform. They prepared a poster, and we went on foot to a restaurant where they enjoyed practicing and learning English. Here in this fast food restaurant, they had a mini role play about ordering foods. I think that this helped them a lot in building a friendly atmosphere with their peers, with their teacher, of course, as well as developing self-reliance and leadership. Activity that we opted for while we were thinking about how we can take our students beyond the classroom, it was this. Okay, it was when we invited 10D cinema to our school within our English club, TILEC. With the help of my colleagues, we succeeded in putting a smile on their faces. It was a great opportunity, in fact, for our pupils to discover new things. Not all the pupils were able to go to such type of cinema, okay? So we brought it to them, and it was a very nice afternoon where they enjoyed these types of films. It helped them in their curricula. Of course, you know that in our books there are lessons related to going out, going to cinema. So we tried to focus on that while having this cinema in our school. Let me move to some examples of contests that we held at school. And you know that contests are also another way to foster learning, and they are a great source of evaluation for students, teachers, as well as parents. They offer a chance for pupils to gain experience and achieve educational goals. And I want to share with you some of these competitions we offered to our students within our club. In fact, we conducted many contests like the translation contest, the speaking contest, the brain teasers contest, and the spelling contest. And here are some pictures where you may discover this type of contest. So here are the pupils working on it. It went through rounds. We prepared listening for them. And the winners will get, of course, at the end of, during the last round, some presents, certificates, and during the ceremony, some pupils volunteered to have a show, to make a show for their friends, songs, music, etc. This is another competition also. Pupils were really motivated to participate in it, and a big number of pupils were present on that day to take part on it. This, of course, motivated us as teachers too, okay? We have motivated pupils that are always ready to come and participate in such activities. Of course, we should admit that we may sometimes face some challenges while we conduct or we plan extracurricular activities or contests. So I'm going to end my presentation with this short conclusion, saying that it's clear that teachers and the students share positive attitudes towards extracurricular activities as an effective pedagogical tool to enrich the teaching learner process. However, we as teachers may meet some challenges in relation to the shortage of material to ease the use of extracurricular activities. Yet, it's really vital to offer and maintain these activities. Thank you all for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Madame Germesi, for this very detailed presentation of your extracurricular activities.
You are
it's
welcome.
really outstanding. And I'm sure that all colleagues, all the participants enjoyed your presentation. Thank you very much for that.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So, any questions, any comments, please? I see that there are many positive comments on the chat box. But if anyone wants, Si Walid, please go ahead, activate your mic.
It's me, Samiha.
Go ahead, please.
I would like to thank Mrs. Suraya for her inspiring work. It was just astonishing, and I like all the ideas. And I would like to thank her again for her great work, because I know how contests and extracurricular activities are important for pupils, and engaging them, it's not that easy at all. Thank you for your great work, and you are really great teacher. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Okay, that's a very positive feedback. Si Walid Qadri, please.
Actually, that's Mrs. Samiha.
Ah, okay, because I could see the
we
name.
We have to thank Si Walid for letting her use his account.
Ah, okay, so she's using Si Walid's account. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to seize the opportunity to thank Mrs. Germesi for, as you said, inspiring and insightful presentation. And I try to follow a bit what our innovative teachers are doing. And Mrs. Germesi is a very active and enthusiastic teacher. And I know that she collaborates with her colleagues under the supervision of the great inspector, Mr. Kemesi, right?
Thank you very much. Well, I attended some of their events, not all of them actually, but I know what they are doing, and they are working as a team, and they are doing great in their school.
Yeah, right. That's what we encourage all the teachers to do. We have to work together. We cannot, no man is an island, as we say, no woman is an island, by the way, too. So we have to work together. We have to collaborate. Teamwork makes the dream work, as my colleague, Mrs. Hosni says. So again, congratulations, Mrs. Germesi. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. Again, thank you very much, Mrs. Samiha, for sharing your experience.
You're welcome.
And I think all the colleagues, all the attendees, if you have, I don't know, you'd like to know more about our presenters' experience, you can reach out to them. They're very helpful and friendly. You'll see that they will be willing to share tips and tricks to help you get started with your own projects. So it just takes some change of heart, as we say, and things will work the way that you'd like. So basically, that's what I have to say. I don't know whether
Basma, maybe
Marawi. Yeah, please, Ms. Marawi, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you very much, Mrs. Germesi, for this rich experience. In fact, we sometimes like to take students outside the box, as you said, but I was amazed by the experience of taking them outside, that is, to the restaurant or to the fast food restaurant. So did this happen outside the school hours? And I think this needs some preparation, some parents' consents, and so I think this you had to run through certain legal issues to take them out, I think. Sure. Didn't you?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Of course, it went through many steps. First of all, I got the consent of my headmaster, and then I sent parents and consents, and they signed them and gave them back to me. And we planned it. It was a Saturday afternoon, means after class.
Okay.
And it was really amazing. And you can't imagine the happiness that I saw on their eyes. You see.
Yeah.
It was great.
We sometimes arrange such things, but inside the class. So we ask them to bring things and we share in the classroom. Yeah. But our experience is a bit different, but amazing. I like it.
Thank you. I would like to
thank you, Madam Basma. Yes.
I would like to thank Mrs. Lamar for your nice words, for your encouragement, Sikamel, also, I would like to thank you for your support and your guidance. Thank you for giving me this valuable experience.
Most welcome. Thank you. Okay, so any more comments, any more reactions? Because we are heading towards the end of our event tonight. Any more comments, please? Now, just a reminder, maybe not a reminder, actually. Okay, it's a kind of summary. Did you raise your hand, Madam Samiha, again, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
I suggest organizing contests or extracurricular activities at the national level. Why don't we think about this?
It's a good idea. Actually, some time ago, I had this ambition and then I started with teachers in my area. Then it was spread to other parts of the country with the ambition of meeting together in one of the places, the beautiful places of our Tunisia, of our country. Why not? We keep thinking about it. It's really very ambitious.
Yeah, I think it's time to think about
the situation for the moment, you know, Madam Samiha, maybe is not really adequate for the moment.
Since we are not able to meet our inspectors in training, so why don't you begin organizing the work from now? Maybe it will be coming up to be done in a few months or maybe years. I know that organization is not easy, so it will take time. That's why don't we begin now, just to be fulfilled and achieved in the nearest day?
Sure, it's a good suggestion, by the way. I personally go for it. But what do you think that we should go? We should start with regional committees, with regional events, or straight with national ones?
Because
it's not that easy to handle.
Exactly. We went through a regional one with my colleagues, and it was, I have to say, it wasn't that easy, but it was possible, and it is possible now for me. A regional contest.
The national is different from regional, by the way. Yeah, you need logistics. You need to be prepared logistically with transport. Now there are many issues, but it's not impossible. We can start thinking about it. I'll have a talk with my colleagues, and we should keep in touch. And please suggest ideas how we can go for it, and what should we do exactly. So
why don't we organize a webinar about this to share suggestions and maybe make a list of possibilities?
Okay, so it's noted. Thank you very much for the suggestion. We can follow up this.
Maybe we can start regional and then go national. So
yeah, it should
be
easy
to start regional, and then one or two pupils from each region goes to the national.
Yeah, we can set the criteria and then see how things go. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice. So we can start thinking about it.
It's complicated, but it is worth it.
Yeah, sure.
And you're motivating us to think about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's mutual.
Yeah, that's it. Any more comments? No, I just go back to the remark I wanted to add. It's not actually just to motivate people, okay? Now it's about good teachers, and you are the leaders. You are a sample of these good teachers in the country, you see. So good teachers are those who connect learning to the real world, and through the examples that we have already seen. So there is a good connection between the classroom, what happens in the class, and the outside world with the different types of activities. There is very much scaffolding learning, and a good teacher should think deeply and have a tendency towards scaffolding learning in the classroom. Good teachers like you as well, use a variety of different teaching strategies and activities. And we have just seen samples of these activities and many other things. So thank you again for the brilliant participation. And we want to see more teachers asking for participation in our series of events, because they are held monthly, and we are thinking of more events. So any one of you is really welcome, most welcome to participate. Over to you, Sir Habib. Are you there, or Madame Zorgati, if she is in, or Madame Lama, or any other colleague who wants to participate, please?
Yeah, I just like.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you, Sikimel. Just a reminder.
Excuse me, Sir Habib.
Yeah.
Just I'd like to remind the attendees that they can get a certificate of attendance if they take the quiz that we're going to share the link to it now in the chat box. If you can do that, Sir Habib or Mrs. Zargati. And on the screen, I don't know whether you can see my screen or not. We've got the Facebook group called U-innovate Network for ELTs, and our Gmail address, uinnovate2020@gmail.com. You can send us emails with suggestions, with I don't know, if you'd like
By
to
the way,
participate. Yeah, please.
This is not clear because the bar of Microsoft Teams is hiding it.
So I'm going to say that again. The Facebook group is called U-innovate Network for ELTs.
Yeah.
And the email address, uinnovate2020@gmail.com.
Okay, 2020.
Madame Lama, I have just posted the link, huh?
Yeah, thank you very much.
To the quiz on the chat box.
You. So
okay,
over to you,
Sahib. Yes, getting back to
thank you. I was just talking about the, I asked Mrs. Atwi about the link to the quiz. So thank you, Sikimel, for sharing it. Thank you, Mrs. Samiha Bhibah. Thank you, Mrs. Thuraya Garmesi.
You're very welcome.
For joining us.
Madame Lama, I need to remind colleagues something else, please, which is very important. Please try to get your Terbiya Pointian account, because if you have this account, you can have the opportunity to see the chat, to revisit it, and to see the different interactions offline. Of course, when you after the conference, you can see the recordings. Later on, we can share it on the platform. So it's very important to have a code and get your own.
We all have it. I think we all have it, since we had to.
Well, I'm not really sure. Some of the teachers, I know that some of the teachers, at least those with whom I'm working in the area, still don't have a code and the Terbiya Pointian account, and they are logging in just with the link. But
and there are many other
really
advantages.
Very interesting if they have it. Okay, sorry.
There are many other advantages that we can have from the yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yes, Madame Lama Atwi, you can wrap it up, and I need to say goodbye to each one of you. Okay, please do.
Yes. So thank you, Mrs. Samiha again, Mrs. Thuraya, all the attendees. We're glad to have you with us in our events, and please stay tuned for our upcoming events. Inshallah, we'll have more and more successful events with your help, with your attendance, and your enthusiasm. Thank you, Sikimel, Habib, Mrs. Zorgati. Thank you for the fruitful collaboration, and inshallah, together we'll carry on this fruitful experience. So thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Habib, you can stop the recording.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Atwi and Mr. Sheikh. Just a reminder that this session is being recorded, and hopefully you'll get a link to the recording very soon. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you all for this active participation and for sharing your riches. Good night and see you in the upcoming events. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Si Habib, and all
you.
colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.